Some people in this world are on the front lines of the struggle between good and evil, and some, like us, bear witness. I'm Therese Apel.
And I'm Nicole Crowell. You may have heard us as we worked on stories and series about law enforcement and crime. And it's safe to say we've seen some of the best and worst of human nature.
We decided there's no greater honor than bringing you the stories of the men and women who seek out the monsters, who speak for the victims, and who put the pieces together on some of the biggest Mississippi crime stories of our time. Welcome to Investigation Homicide. Hey guys, welcome to Investigation Homicide. Thank y'all for joining us this week. Of course, I am Therese Apel. I have our co-host Amanda Johansson with us today.
Hello.
So today we're not necessarily talking about homicide, but we are talking about something that is pretty near and dear to my heart, because if you know anything about my career, you know that for a while I had a show called Frontlines, and it was about the Rankin and Madison County, or Madison and Rankin County Interdiction unit. These guys are riding the interstates daily and through the night, protecting us from the things that actually are on our interstates that we don't always know about. There's cartel drugs, there's kidnappers, I'm not going to over dramatize it, but there's a lot going on out there. So we're going to talk to them. We've got Centel Easterling and Johansson here from that unit. Thanks for being here, guys.
Oh, very welcome.
Yeah. So let me start off with Amanda. Amanda, how are things going this lovely day?
It's going. It's almost the end of the week. Right. So I'm just pushing forward, ready for the weekend.
Good deal. Now, you've never worked interdiction, have you?
No.
But you've worked with people who have?
I have. I am not what you would consider a dope cop. I never wanted to be a dope cop. That just wasn't my thing. But I am very impressed with the guys that get out there and, sit out there for hours. Sometimes they're out there for like days or weeks trying to get this one particular stop. They're really dedicated, and they know exactly what they're looking for. I have no idea what they're looking for, but maybe I will learn today.
That's right. Well, I know for me, being out there with them taught me a lot about what they're looking for, but also just about reading people and about human nature. Speaking of training, we also have Joe from FLETC in here. That is rather than going into all of it, but it's a school that law enforcement go to and learn a whole lot. Federal law enforcement training. What's it stand for again?
Federal Law Enforcement Training Center.
Okay, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. Didn't want to get that wrong. So, guys, let's move on into what you guys do. Start off with you, Centel. Tell us a little bit about your career. How'd you start? What brought you here?
I've been in law enforcement going on about 25 years now. Got a total of about 19 years working the highway interdiction. Started and I dabbled a little bit in interdiction when I first got in my career. Did about 6 years on patrol and then advanced to the highway. Also worked with a K-9 as well, which he helps me on the interstate. That's about all it is to know about me.
How long have you been a K-9 officer?
I got ever since I've been in interdiction, about 19 years.
So I have known, 3 of your K-9s? Mm-hmm. And
two.
How many of you? 2. Okay, I've known 2 of them. How many have you had? Just 2?
Just 2.
Okay, good deal. Now, John, you have been doing this for a while, too. Tell us about your career and what brought you here.
I started in 1994, late 1994, in small town of Delta, Louisiana. I've always worked narcotics ever since, because when I graduated academy, I looked like I was 12 years old, and I always had that thing for dope. So basically, I've been working narcotics for my whole 30-year career on the interstate or working street-level dope.
Y'all tell us why you love working. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't still be doing it if you didn't love working dope.
That's the only thing I've known to ever done. So I live and breathe. They get so aggravated with me at night. I stay on my phone 24/7, talking to people across this country. And, I get up sometimes 1 o'clock, just leave, say, I got to go. Get out on the highway and look for stuff. And so, my chief and sheriff probably hates my phone bill.
They're in a state that we have been to that he had known somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a networker.
Now, talk to us about, before we go into that, because I want to come back to that part, because networking in y'all's business is huge. But so start off with, tell us what, in your words, what does an interdiction officer do?
You got to.
Well,
Off each other.
Everybody's kind of like,
We
well.
sit on the highway for numerous hours. We're watching cars. Pretty much what we're doing is waiting on the perfect car to come by. We're pretty much watching driving behavior. That's the first stage of what we're looking for. And if I want to go into driving behavior, I'm looking at what that car is doing when he approaches me, what he does when he gets ahead of me. We sit there and we hunt. That's pretty much what we do.
Well, I know,
And
dear
talk
friend
to
of
a lot of people.
that you do. Yeah. A dear friend of ours, Chris Piku, the late Chris Piku, was one of the best at interdiction. And I know he taught me that it's basically like y'all are almost like deer hunting. Like you're waiting and you're watching, and something will happen that you'll know that this is the one. So, John, when you're out there, what are you looking for?
Technically, really honest, I'm looking for softballs. And people look at you like, what are you talking about, a softball? I'm not looking for that 90-mile-an-hour fastball. I'm looking for that 60-mile-an-hour softball. Go by.
Yeah.
Because they want to blend in. They don't want to show no attention to them, but they doing it. Most people sits out on that interstate see us 24. Everybody in there knows who we are, and they see us out there every day.
Mm-hmm.
If that speed limit's 70 miles an hour, they passing us 75 and 80 because they don't care, because they know that they ain't worried about us. But somebody that don't know us and they hauling something across the country, they're going to cause a reaction when they see us sitting out there.
Sure. Now, obviously, a big part of this whole thing is you learn what behaviors you're looking for, but also once you've got a car pulled over, there's a behavior study going on there too.
Yeah, well, you pretty much got to learn what's normal and what's not normal. I mean, you're going to have a reaction to officers sitting in the media, no matter what. That's anybody, but it's that special reaction that we're looking for. And I'm meaning that nosedive, just like, oh, crap, there he is, that ducking behind the B pillar, the A pillar, just trying to fit in. But they don't know they're doing a little bit too much just to blend in with traffic. But the behavior that I'm looking for whenever we are on a traffic stop, you got all types of behavior that a person will exhibit when they're nervous. They don't even know that they're exhibiting that behavior. So I'm looking at for as breathing. I'm looking at carotid veins here. I'm looking at the trembling of the hand when they handed me license. So there's just a lot of things that we're looking at when we're standing at that, when they're talking to a person.
Sure. And so, Amanda, how does that translate in what you do as a detective?
Yeah, very similar to whenever I'm interviewing a suspect for the child cases. Everyone gets nervous around the police when they feel like they've done something wrong or they know they've done something wrong. And so you cannot hide the body's reaction to nerves. And no matter how hard you try, the body's going to tell the truth.
Yes.
And we learn to pick up on it.
And just watch people and see how they act when you ask certain questions. You try to get a baseline of questions, get that common question, then you hit them with that pressure question and see that change of behavior on it.
Absolutely.
On the baseline.
So let me get on here right quick and just say, if you're watching us on Facebook right now, you can comment. If you are on my personal page, it for some reason will not post public. So go to my news page. It's the one with me with the headphones on if you're using my page. Otherwise, you can be on Amanda's page. It's Amanda Joe, Nicole Crowell's page, or the Investigation Homicide page. And you can post questions or comments or whatever, and we will see them in real time if you're watching or listening to this after the fact. Of course, we won't, but we'll try to check back and comment. Okay, so we've talked about kind of watching these reactions that you get from people. And I know during the time that I rode with these guys on the interstate, it was always fun to watch people because you have different kinds of people out there. How do you tell the difference between me being like, oh, crap, my license is expired, and someone that's like, oh, crap, there's a body in the trunk?
That's what we see a lot, and that's why we got to talk to you doing the interview. You can figure out real quick if it's just for a license, suspension, or a warrant, just by how you talk to people. And you can't hide that body. That language, they will show signs of being nervous to a point.
Well, you got to think about it. Once we're going through a line of questions, right? And pretty much, I'm gonna sit here and say, like, we're not worried about the ticket, the speeding infraction or whatever. But if that behavior does not lower, whenever we tell them that, we know it's a little bit more to it then. So it's pretty much we just going through a little spiel with them.
And the question is, you believe it or not, people, you could put a husband and wife, prime example of this, Mother's Day 2 years ago. I stopped one on Mother's Day Sunday, husband and wife. Asked the husband, like, where y'all heading today? He was like, oh, I'm going to Alabama to see my friend. I'm like, so you taking your wife and kids with you to see your friend on Mother's Day? He's like, yes, sir. I talked to her, like, where y'all heading today? She's like, oh, I'm going to go see my sister in Atlanta. I was like, y'all been riding in the same car for 8 hours, and y'all ain't got stories better than this? And once I turned around and looked at him, he was picking up weeds off of the side of the interstate and kind of presented them to me like a bouquet. And I kind of almost said, this is your son.
Right. What was he doing that for?
He was just trying to be the nice guy.
Just trying to give
show
you flowers.
He's a nice guy. Just a nice
Trying to
guy.
manipulate the situation.
Pretty much.
Nothing like a handful of weeds to make
Just
me
weeds.
like a person.
You know, I figured out the body is set up, and I'm guessing the brain. It's a whole lot easier to lie going forward, but once you try to put the brain in reverse and ask questions backwards, that's when they stumble.
Oh, wow.
So it's just a little something I picked up since I've been doing it, and
Sure.
that's where all your behavior is coming from.
Well, and see, that kind of stuff was what was so fun to me, because as a reporter, I always think I'm pretty good at interviewing people, watching body language, all that kind of stuff. But there were nights that I would sit out there with one of you guys or with William Lindley, and the thing is, watching the cars go by, and I would just be watching, and I would just see like truck, sedan, truck. And then it would be like, hey, did you see who was driving that? I'd be like, what? No. There was tinted windows, right? No, there weren't tinted. But to me, it's like all my brain would process is truck. But y'all are seeing like, okay, so that was a female driving, or, that car had 3 tires of one kind and one of another, or that license plate. I might see what color the license plate was or what state it was from, but y'all would see what county or things like that. So it's just that practice on the road, right?
It is.
Seeing what's normal and what's not normal. Like in Amanda's situation, she knows what's normal in her investigations. And same as us, we know what's normal in ours, and we look for that abnormal. And can I just throw this out? Because I can't comment on some of the news people's
Go ahead.
stations. We don't have no fancy machine on our cars that tell us there's a load of dope going by the way. Let me just throw that out there.
Right.
Them little things on front of our cars don't tell us there's a load of dope or a load of money or guns. So I want to just throw that out there.
It takes actual training to know that stuff.
And 98% of all seizures is cold stops. Us getting out there humping it, stopping cars after cars, and talking to people. Just want to say that.
Well,
because can't say it on some news.
It was always interesting to me to see how little we pay attention when we drive. So you're driving down the road and you don't know how often you hit that white line, or how often you're following too close or whatever like that. And so many times you guys would pull people over just to be like, hey man, are you awake? Like there's coffee right down the road. So it's not always just that you're pulling somebody over for like, hey, you're going too fast or you're following too close. Sometimes it's just, I've seen you guys make sure somebody was awake because it's middle of the night or it's early in the morning. Like you're just 3 miles down the road from Pelahatchie, stop at that gas station and get coffee.
There's more to it than just finding narcotics and money and stuff else. Just last year and so, our team received 2 life-saving awards. My partner here recovered a missing child that was taken out of Tennessee within the last 3 years. That was been trafficked to Texas. Many times we got out with flat tires, changing flat tires.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised that grown men don't know how to change flat. I will give you a quick lesson on that. Might not change it for you, but I will help you.
Right.
You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today how to change a flat.
Well, and it was the first episode that we did of Frontlines, and we saw a family on the side of the road, and none of them actually spoke English. Well, I guess some of the kids did. And their vehicle was broken down, so we went to the gas station. We got them water and candy, and and you were just making sure they're okay and that someone was coming for them.
Yep.
Talk about how often y'all do that nobody even talks about.
Yes, because we out there so much on the side of the highway, and we'd be there before a trooper or a patrol deputy, because we there. I mean, that's part of our job. Get out when we see somebody broke down. Because if my family were broke down, I'm expecting my third grandchild. Yes, I am that old. Just saying that. If my daughter and grandkids be broke down, I would expect somebody to pull over and help them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. I mean, we see a car broke down, we're gonna get out and check on them.
I mean,
You never know.
We're all public servants, and we're here to serve the public. So if we see them, we stop by.
Well, and I'm talking about that kind of first because I know there are a lot of people that give y'all a hard time that say, like, what do y'all do out there on the side of the road? You just sleep in? You know, like it's kind of that. Somebody one time told me, well, they're just the fire department of the police. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Well, they have a whole lot of boring stuff until something happens, then it's really exciting. And I was like, that is almost accurate, but it's not, you know, because you guys are out there doing so much else besides. I know that there were times that, and are times that, you know, there's a manhunt going on, or you guys are looking for somebody who's on a bolo, or there's, you know, someone right down the interstate has been involved in some kind of an incident, and y'all are the ones that are called to do that because you're out there, you're available.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
A lot. I mean, even with dogs and tracking, we go and assist everybody. So it's not that we're only just sitting on the highway. Pretty much we're sitting there waiting on go. I mean, we're doing what we're supposed to do, but we're waiting on a phone call any second to come in. So we're everywhere. We go everywhere.
So now let's talk about the things that you guys are actually, when we talk about cartel dope on the road, like that's what y'all's job is primarily. You do a lot of other things too, but kind of when we talk about what Interdiction does, that's where the seized funds come from. That's where a lot of the stuff actually, that's where the bulk of your work is. Talk about what it's like to work that stuff. Most people have never seen that whole amount of coke that you guys have had, or, you know, $1 million in cash, or the things that y'all see on a regular basis.
You go.
Don't make me call names.
I guess it's like deer hunting too. Let's say it's that adrenaline rush when you pull out 100 kilos of cocaine, 30, 40 kilos of fentanyl out of a car, out of a compartment. It's a running joke on the team between him and I that we'd miss 100 pounds of dope in the trunk before we miss one in a compartment because we're so focused looking for a trap. Because it's like that hunt.
Right.
We want that hunt, that good experience hunt. We want our money's worth. And so, you know, you go out there, stop cars all day long, get, you know, a little bit. But when you hit that big, massive load, it's just a good feeling. Because we work a lot of overdoses, too, in our county, between both counties. And when we hit 10, 15 keys of fentanyl, that's a lot less people that overdosing on it in our county.
Well, not necessarily just our county. If it's going through our county and we stop it there, we cut off its destination, you know, so won't nobody else get involved with it, you know. So that's where the adrenaline rush comes in. I love to see it. I love to stop it, but I love to feel like, hey, at the end of the day, I've done something to serve somebody's county, not necessarily just mine. We've stopped this load from getting able to be distributed.
Basically, it's like you're stopping a major load of poison from being dumped into a community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you say it's we start one like going to Birmingham, there's about a 50% chance some of it's going to be coming back to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing narcotics rolling back westbound. It used to be dope eastbound, money westbound. But in the last 4 or 5 years, the game has changed. We see them rolling back to our county, to Jackson, and back other. Like a year or so ago, one of our teammates hit like 100 pounds of dope. They flew him from another state to Atlanta, picked it up, and he was taking it back to Dallas. 8 years ago, that would have been unheard of. But now we're seeing it going both ways, and it's just where the demand is and good prices.
Yeah.
Well, so how, because I know that at the time that it was, you know, money's going one way, dope's going the other, it was kind of easy to sit on one side of the road and know what you're going to get. So today I'm going to hunt dope. Are there new ways of what's a good word? Are there new strategies now that things are changing like this? Do you have to change with the industry?
Yes, you do. I mean, you got to think about this. Your cartels and all that, they have nothing but time to figure out how to defeat us. So it's almost like, what is the Tom and Jerry cat and mouse game?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. They sit there and we got to take time to evolve to try to knock off the loads that they are bringing now. So right now we're trying to figure it out because it's did a total 180. So now we just got to figure out the trend.
So one thing that I've read, and of course I've had many conversations with you guys about it, but obviously to the normal person, the idea of taking dope off the road that belongs to the cartels is terrifying. But it's almost like there's kind of an understanding. The cartel understands they're going to ship dope and they're going to lose some to guys like y'all. But in the end, what is that? Do you ever worry about that? About that being a danger in your life?
It's always a little worry, but it's the tier of people you're dealing with. It's a job for them. They get paid to haul it from point A to point B, and that's their job. So the likelihood, it's always dangerous.
It's a business.
It's
That's
a
what
business.
They look at it like.
If they send out 100 cars, they're expecting they're going to lose 30, 40 of them cars.
Yeah.
And that's the price of the game.
And that's how much money there is in it.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yep.
So now let's talk about how sometimes you're sitting out there and you just expect it to be a normal day. You're looking for drugs or you're looking for cash or whatever. But something else happens. You get a bolo or you find out that, you're looking for... Actually, let's go to your situation, Centel.
Okay.
You pull over a vehicle. There's a man in the vehicle. There's a younger girl. Tell us about that day.
Well, that day, I kind of didn't know what I had at first. So through interviewing and picking up on body behavior, and pretty much the gentleman had told her to lie. So I had to dig even harder.
Now, kind of tell us, when you pulled him over, what did you see? I mean, I know it was the older gentleman, the younger girl, but, kind of what kind of vibes were you getting off him, and set the scene for us a little bit.
Well, with the older gentleman, you can kind of tell they didn't fit. Didn't match. That makes sense. You got this older guy, or you got this younger female here. I guess she was somewhat comfortable because they've been in the car for so long together. But after I separated them and started asking questions, and I figured, oh, something's not right. So the more I dug into it, the more nervousness she started exhibiting. So I pulled her away, and she pretty much just broke.
And what do you do then? You figure out, and tell us what was actually going on there.
It was trafficking. I mean, that's the only way I can put it, human trafficking.
And he had also on his phone, when he was able to download his phone, he had downloaded the local news station from her area where she was taken from, just in case it popped up on the news.
Yep.
He had pictures of the surveillance cameras from the apartment complex, the locations of it, where he went to, and everything.
Mm-hmm. Now, Amanda, you work crimes against children. How do these people usually meet?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways that they can meet. It really just depends. A lot of things are picked up through the internet. They meet them, or it might be an agreed upon meetup where, I'm mad at my parents, and they come in and swoop in and be the hero, and then they end up Mississippi.
That's how they met on it. They met on the
Exactly.
internet.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. That's the answer I
Mhm.
wanted, because
They met on the
that's
internet.
what we had there.
Yeah.
Even didn't he tell her to say he was her boyfriend? Was that right?
Mm-hmm. He did. He knows more of the back half investigation report after the stop,
Mhm.
so that's why I'm kind of
Sure.
letting him
Well, it's
pop in
also,
on
in
it.
all fairness, it's been 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, I mean, you guys may remember a lot of things that you read, but when you do this every day, sometimes it's like,
Runs
wait, was
together.
that the one where?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Kinda
it
runs
turned in a
together.
good case. The local FBI office came out, interviewed them. Texas DPS from Austin, Texas area, they got involved in it because that's where he was from, and they ended up with charges, federal charges and state charges, and it was in my mouth kind of got me in trouble on that one. You cannot control your body language, like I
Mhm.
said.
yeah.
As he was handcuffed beside the front seat of my partner's car here, I walked by him. I kind of smelled something, and I kind of asked him, did he boo-boo himself?
Oh no.
And he's like, yes, sir, I did. You cannot control your nerves.
Right.
And it
That is
went
a
out.
sign.
That's a
Absolutely.
very
Yeah.
good sign. It went out. And I was informed by the U.S. attorney, please do not say that too much again.
Don't tell that story anymore.
No, not to ask the guy on video, did he boo-boo himself?
You just needed to make sure if he needed medical
Yes.
attention.
Yes.
But for his adrenaline rush,
Yeah.
that right there is what got my adrenaline going.
Oh yeah.
Because
That's better than
I got
any
kids
load.
as well. So, I mean, that set with me.
Sure.
Yeah, that's better than any load you could ever get.
Yep.
The ultimate, the goal for interdiction officer, recover a missing child.
Mm-hmm.
That is the golden egg right there. If you recover a missing child, and and our team is very successful at it. I mean, one of the other teammates recovered 2 that was kidnapped the night before, and he ended up in an officer-involved shooting, went to suspect. So it's been,
Well, and I was going to go to that one. I don't know where that is in the legal process, but I was going to see if y'all could tell us anything about that. What I remember about it, it was on April 25th of 2 years ago or so, maybe 3 years now. Is there anything we can talk about on that other than
I don't
just
know. I wouldn't. I showed up late, so
sure?
so I don't know what the legal standing is on that one yet. But at the end of the day, we recovered 2 missing kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And everybody, our officer went home that day.
And to kind of set the stage for you, if you don't know what we're talking about, which most of you probably don't, officer goes to do a routine traffic stops. They're never routine. Guy, doesn't he get out with a?
He fled in a vehicle. When he exited the vehicle, with a rifle and pointed at the officer. There was an officer-involved shooting. And
Yeah, he ended up opening fire on the officer too, and didn't he have to shoot through his
the
windshield?
Yes.
It was actually crazy on that stop. I was on a traffic stop with a load of dope.
Yeah,
He was backing me up.
Westbound.
I remember this now.
Load
Yeah.
of dope. I think it was what?
Like 10,000 fentanyl pills.
Fentanyl pills. And this guy came through and almost took us out. And my partner got behind him and it was kind of crazy though. I'm sitting here with suspects in handcuffs and I couldn't get to him when he was saying what was going on. I'm just kind of nerve-wracking.
Well, and things like that are the reason that I called my interdiction series Frontlines, because a lot of people think, I mean, I've talked to agencies that think that an interdiction unit really isn't that big of a deal. You know, like, well, I mean, we have one interdiction officer. You know, I've heard that. Oh yeah, he just sits out there. But what you guys do, you really are in cases just like that on the front lines of what's going on, what's coming through our state. These aren't our criminals that we're used to in so many cases. They're somebody else's, or they're kind of nationwide.
Yeah, go back and ask that mother, that 2 kids right there, how important that was for her to get her 2 kids back. Or the child he recovered from Tennessee. So,
Absolutely. Well, and so another time, John, that was also on the show, I think the first episode also, we're out there just doing the thing, and we get a call that a woman has had a home invasion. I realize this story went somewhere weird. I don't even know if we can talk about it yet, but there's been a home invasion. The woman is taped up inside her home. She has been duct taped. She says 2 men came in and duct taped her and didn't do anything to her, but stole her pink gun, and then they ran away. Well, of course, we go out there.
Yeah, we did a track, K9 track, and basically we turned over the investigations, and we stepped back on it. We don't know. I still don't know the end results on it because the investigators handled it from there. We tried to track them, K9 that night, and was unable to, and that was our only part of that one. We went out there strictly for the K9 to assist. I'm the only one on the team that don't have a dog, yes, but I run with the dogs.
Right.
Yes. Probably because I'm trying to lose some of this. Ain't
Might as
helping too
well.
much.
Just jog. Well, and that was the reason I told that story, is just because, you know, you never know what the night's going to bring.
Yeah, you never know, because a month or so ago, our partners got in a chase with a guy. They was dumping weed out the window, just throwing it out the window, went into Scott County. And an hour later, I'm after a stolen car going to Newton County.
So
I had to get 2 new fenders from that one. Yeah.
So really, a day, there's no such thing as a normal day, because I mean it can pop off just like that.
And
Now,
when you least expect it.
yeah. Well, and to me, so I have learned from doing this that I can be driving along and I can see an officer in the median and I already know if that's an interdiction officer or not. I always want to tell people like those guys aren't going to pull you over. You could, but you don't generally pull people over for speeding. So that's kind of something that I always laugh at when I go by and I wave because I know that you can tell that it's me. But on the other hand, I feel like having y'all out there sitting in those places also does kind of make people slow down a little bit.
It's a deterrent. I would say that because usually the people that's traveling through don't know that we're there, and when they see us, boom, they immediately hit the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does slow them down some.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes like you never. It's like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. Right. Because I stopped a car a week or so ago that blew my doors off. Just blew my doors off.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled the vehicle over, walked up, said, "Hey, you know I'm stopping you." Yeah, I passed you running pretty fast. I'm like, what's your excuse for this? She's like, I see you out here every day smiling all the time. You had the prettiest smile I've ever seen. I just wanted you to stop and say, hey.
Those, yeah.
I was like, now tell me the real reason. I'm running late for work. Okay. But you never know what's going to come out of that person's mouth.
Right.
But I am smiling all the time. So.
Well, and that's what's funny is like what I have seen you guys do is you get out there and, we've had several stories. I'm going to say several, but there's two that I can think of in the media in recent years where someone has taken great offense that an officer pulled them over on the interstate and asked them a whole lot of really personal questions and implied that they might have dope in the car. And what's interesting is, you watch these people and they go through this whole process, and every time they talk about it, whether it's a media thing or it's just a post on Facebook, I recognize the questions because y'all have a very specific way. And I won't ask you to tell the questions, but you have a specific way that you ask people questions. And it's not just about the body language, but it's also kind of about the information that you gather. Why should people not be offended when you pull them over and you say, so do you have a gun in the car? Do you have any dope in the car? Like, why is it okay for you to ask that?
I'll let you tap on that one.
You go ahead.
It's a way to ask people. I mean, we in the South. Everybody got a gun.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, I'm like, hey, you got a gun? That's it. I'm just curious because I got one just for your safety of mine. Just if you got one, just let me know. And it ain't against the law to have a gun unless you're a felon. So, it's just routine questions that we ask people. I mean, they ain't got to answer them. Mm-hmm. But it's all how you come across or how you ask that question. Now, I could call you a couple names you might be, but how I ask you that goes a long way with people. If you come across like a total jerk, like, hey, where the hell you going? Where you coming from? What you doing this for? You ain't going to get crap from them. Just be nice to people. Old Roadhouse movie, Patrick Swayze. Mm-hmm. Be nice. Tell time not to be nice. And I come across like the dumbest country, Louisiana hick it is. And people just love me to death.
Yeah.
They tell me anything.
Right. And that's I mean, each of y'all, one thing I noticed is each of you with your own personalities, you are all always very professional, but you're also very personal, very friendly, and honestly probably got more out of those people than they ever thought they were giving you when you would ask those questions.
Yeah. That's what's so unique about our team. We all are strong in different areas, and that's what makes us a good unit.
Now,
like
how many guys are there on the team now?
Oh, we got
6.
Yeah,
you got Shaq, Lee, DCL, Givens, you, myself, 6, 7, yeah.
6 of us.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, and so let's talk for a second too.
Yes, I do count on my fingers. And, I have a Louisiana public school education. Just throwing that out there.
Well, at least you know how to count the fingers, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about networking. Because a few years back, I went with y'all to the Interdiction conference in Chicago, and you literally knew everybody. Why is it important in y'all's specific discipline to have so many contacts? Can you talk about that? Are you allowed to talk about that?
I'm a people's person.
Yeah.
I love to talk to people. And, if I need something in another state, I know who I could call. I could pick up the phone and call somebody. we had an incident here in the city of Madison a year or so ago, and they was looking for a contact up in Canada. I was like, I just happen to know somebody in Canada, and reached out to somebody in Canada and hooked them up with our investigators here in the city of Madison, and ended up assisting with solving the case. It just the more contacts you have, the better. Because if you need somebody anywhere, just drop a phone, call. People always call me all the time, like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, that's pretty good right there. And vice versa. Just, you never know when you need somebody to help you.
And
Like a wanted person or something. We had our Rankin CID was looking for a wanted person in a kidnapping a couple of weeks ago. They was like, hey, you know anybody in Lake Charles, Louisiana? I'm like, I do. And within like 20 minutes, they done located the guy at a casino in Lake Charles, and I got a picture of him in handcuffs within 20 minutes of them calling.
well, that's the thing, networking and all that. We're all out here to accomplish the same thing, and that's put the bad guy in jail.
Mm.
So it's good to network.
Because the bad guys network against us.
Yeah. Oh, that's definite.
They network against us. And, if we all work together, they can't beat us. They can't beat us.
Well, and so I know that there are several main drags for the guys that are, or the people rather, that are smuggling dope or running drugs or however you want to say it. I just sounded like such a amateur when I said that. But the point is, so you've got I-20, you've got I-10, you've got I-40, but also a lot of them will move around and do other things too. Okay, so we do have one comment here. We have 3 comments that we can see. Roland J says y'all do a great job. Kelly Law Office says keep up the good work, man. And Jordan Ricks wants to see a vest layout.
So let me clarify this. I get asked this all the time. This thing right here is not a hand grenade. Just for the record,
It does look like a hand grenade.
It is not a hand grenade. It's if we out tracking a suspect or looking for a missing person or drones, maybe differentiate us in the bad person. So this is not a hand grenade.
Right.
Every time we go somewhere eat, and people are like, you got a hand grenade on your shoulder. I'm like, no,
No.
I'm not.
Be cool
So-
if it was.
It is not a hand grenade.
I would have rolled with a hand grenade.
Yeah.
It's not a hand grenade.
Well, if he's looking at mine, I got the same thing.
Yeah, this is a fit check right now.
That's for my
OOTD?
camera.
Oh.
This is my mic here, and this is for my partner. This right here helps to, if he tracks somebody, it helps me get him off quickly without any harm.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and when you say partner, of course, for those of the people that are listening that aren't paying attention, that's for your dog.
yes,
And one thing that you see with these dogs is they would never hurt you intentionally, but they get in there with their teeth, and sometimes you don't want to get in there between them.
well, you got to understand if he does apprehend somebody out there, so that person's going to be fighting and tugging and all of this. So I don't want to go up and have to pull him. I just want to walk up, one little quick motion, boom, he pops off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much trying to protect the bad guy as well, but get the job done as well.
Right. Well, and while we're on the canine subject, these canines are fascinating. If you don't know anything about them, they do so much, and they actually have the mentality of what a 5-year-old or 5 to 7-year-old child. Like they actually know that much sometimes. And so one of the things that I have loved is just seeing how they learn the job and they love it so much. Talk about that.
They're just like one of the kids. I mean, it's like when I get off and go home, it's another kid going home with me, So the training with them, they love the training. They love whenever that door comes open or the truck cranks up, he's excited. Tail is just to go on because he's knowing that he's about to be able to get in his truck and possibly do some work, whether it is narcotics training, tracking, or whatever. That's what he lives for day to day. How in depth do you want me to go on?
Well, I was going to ask you too to talk about the relationship that you have with your dog, because it's not just, if I throw my dog in the truck and go driving, like that's one thing, but it's a whole different thing for you.
Yes. He's with me sometime 12 to 13 hours a day. He's right there with me. So the relationship, the bond is unreal. He would be lost if I wasn't there with him now, so I can get him out, let him go into a crowd of people, If I step out and he hears my voice, he's coming directly to me, expecting to do some form of work. You know,
Well, and I'm not trying to insult John here, but would you say now Iwan is your dog now, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you say that Iwan is your closest partner or John?
Put me on the spot. Huh?
Yeah. I think they'll both still love you either way.
Well, I would have to look at that on two different playing fields.
Sure.
You know, Boris having my back when he's in the truck,
Uh-huh.
he's good to go. But when we're out there in the woods and we're going at it,
Mhm.
I got to depend on him.
Right.
Because
Because
his dog
he's
barks too much. He barks
Well,
too much. for
Didn't
me.
you tell us a story about how someone told you talk too much? So
Yes. The dog barks too much.
kinda
Like
the
I had to
same.
get out of the car and talk. We have a conversation in a meeting. We had to get out because all we hear is
he barks.
Well, but that's a deterrent too.
Oh,
When
yeah,
you get
it
out of
is.
that vehicle to go walk up to
Yeah,
the side of a car,
he's barking.
his barking can also help you.
Yes, he barks at butterflies. If it's moving, he's barking at it.
yes.
Mhm.
And
Not
my
a bad
car
thing.
smell better. Just saying that.
Fair enough.
I don't have it. Can't out of mine. It smells better.
I bet.
So
So also let's talk about for a second that feeling of approaching a vehicle. I mean, we see all these videos online now. It's just and Daniel alluded to it earlier. Y'all are constantly out there. When you pull somebody over, often and most of the time, you're by yourself. And you just don't know who this is going to be in this car anymore, the way the world is and the way people react to police officers. What is that like today?
I just really don't even think about it. It's like second nature. Stopping cars, walking up. I just don't think about it. But when you get a sense, when them hairs on the back of your neck start rising up,
Yeah.
and you start seeing something, and you get a feeling, then come back like, okay, what we got going on here? But on this, it's just second nature. Stopping cars, walking up to people because you expect the good in people.
You expect the good in people.
Yeah, I expect the good in people,
you-
and you just, I don't even really think about it until.
Well, I mean, we're somewhat to the same. You expect the good in them, but you prepare for the bad as well. So my mind is, hey, he's going to dictate the way this traffic stop goes. So my mind is, hey, it should be a good traffic stop, but he's going to determine that. The person's going to determine it. So
Absolutely. Okay, so I guess parting thoughts here. When it comes down to the things about your job that you feel like make it the job that you want, you're not trying to go work undercover in narcotics anymore. You're not trying. I'm not saying that either of you ever did, but the point is, like, this is where you want to stay. Why is that?
this is all I know. It's the way of life.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's a running joke. People, I hear it all the time. Like, John, I'm gonna be like 90 up there on a cane trying to crawl up in the back of 18 wheeler.
Yeah.
And I keep telling them, leaving in like June of 28, 29. I want to be done by the time I'm 55. But that's probably not gonna happen because I just love it so much, and I can't see doing nothing else. We both teach. We travel the country teaching other officers across the country, and it's in the enjoyment of teaching a younger officer. And when he's sending you pictures of that load he got, it don't get no better than that. Because, people all the time like, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. Bro, don't be like me. Be better than me. Get out there and hit it yourself and just be better. And,
Yeah. So, okay, Centel,
Mhm.
proudest moment.
Proudest moment for me,
Uh-huh.
we talked about this a little while ago,
Good.
and that's recovering a missing kid. Proudest moment.
Absolutely. John, proudest moment.
I would say being on site with him, recovering the child was outstanding, proudest moment. But in my whole life, my proudest moment
Mhm.
is the birth of my grandkids. I
Yeah.
love my grandbabies. I mean, my youngest is probably going to give me fits. I think I already got a juvenile investigator on call for her right now
Nice.
because she has that attitude. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
and it's already, and she ain't but 2. She'll be 2 in August. So, yeah, my grandbabies is it for me. Just seeing them and, taking that criminal element off the street. So hopefully they won't ever have to deal with it and everything. It's just my grandbabies.
It's about the future for you.
Yeah, it's
for
about
both
the
of you guys.
grandbabies. And I'm expecting my third one. So my daughter and them ain't going to find out till it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I ain't figured that out summer yet. But hey, that's y'all.
So you've got 2 granddaughters right now?
I got 2, and I got a bonus one, and we're expecting a third one. Yes. So that's 4. That was going to be 4 total.
Right.
But my youngest, yes, she's going to be my problem child.
And see, you're just
And they
out
both
there making this-
redheads. They both redheads.
And you know how I feel about that. That's awesome.
They both redheads.
You got to watch those little redheads.
Oh,
Um,
them 2, yes. Whoever thought it was a good idea getting them plastic baseball bats? Because my oldest one had a black eye a couple weeks ago from the youngest one. Now you'll see what I'm talking about. The youngest going to be bad.
Obviously, they're not scared because Grandpa's a cop.
No. I'm Pop to them.
Pop.
Yeah, Pop to them.
I'm going to start calling you that.
I'm Pop to them.
Yeah, good. No more John. Now he's Pop.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I have a question. You've talked about y'all's inside joke about you would miss a load of dope in a trunk because you're so focused on a trap, and you talk about going out and teaching the next generation. So throughout your entire career, is there a moment or are there stops that y'all have done that stick out in your mind that you feel you missed something, whether it's dope related
Oh my God,
or whether
yes.
maybe it's trafficking related or
Yes.
something?
It's so I can remember like when that car drove off, I was like, I missed something in that thing. And I guess I probably one of the worst feelings for an interdiction officer because we write a lot of warning tickets. Another officer in the next state sent us a copy of our warning ticket and with a picture of dope. That is just bad.
Yes.
That's bad juju right there. That's bad.
Oh, it happens.
So it happened because
Yeah.
I stopped one probably, I don't know, 9 years ago. It was a commercial bus. And I looked at my partner at the time. I said, I missed a load of dope on that bus right there. And 2 days later, the North Carolina Highway Patrol and DEA called me and said, this is your warning ticket. I'm like, where did I miss it at?
Yeah, when you get that phone call and they say, "Hey, is this yours?"
Here
you
we
already
go.
know.
So what do you do to make sure that you don't miss it the next time?
So I actually I went up to the bus place here in Ridgeland. I spent a whole day on searching buses, talking to their mechanics. So I never missed that concealment again. I spent the whole next day up there after I realized it. And I had the officers in North Carolina send me the video, what they saw, how did they found it and stuff. Turns out they a little bit more than I did. I was roadside. They had an enclosed environment, I guess. It was working investigation. So they didn't find a roadside. I'm going to just throw that out there. Y'all didn't find that roadside. I was on the side of the highway at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to search it. So, but they did a great job on it. And then I wanted to better myself. So I went up to the bus place and searched buses all day and talked to the mechanics, people that work on the buses every day. So I could familiar myself with that type of concealment.
Now that
And
was
networking.
something. That's something I was going to ask you the other day or earlier when you were saying this. You were talking about traps and concealments and compartments. Explain that for the people that don't speak this language.
Oh, it's
Well, when you're speaking on trap, a trap is going to be a man-made. It's where a vehicle has been constructed by a man. He's boxed it off and made a man-made compartment inside of it. So that's what we're speaking on. We're saying compartment or trap. Luggage dope speaks for itself. You just got a bag and it's thrown in there. Now, we talked about this earlier. We will miss luggage stuff because we're so focused on, hey, is this right? This trap, is there a trap here or is there something abnormal about this car? So that's what he meant when we were talking about we'll miss luggage dope
Yeah.
based on
And
traps.
it goes like we was doing a training one of our state agencies a year or so ago on the east part of our state. And we stopped a commercial motor vehicle and we searched it for probably 30, 40 minutes roadside. But I was so focused on traps because I met with other officers and I knew that vehicle was a common vehicle, common traps for a certain area. And I was like, where are we missing it at? And I finally looked at the state agent I was riding with. I said, has anybody been in the cab yet? He said, no, we've been out here with you, dummy.
Mm.
and then 40 kilos of cocaine was up under the bunk in a box.
Oh, wow.
And we sitting out there looking for a concealment base on a trailer.
Well, and to me, that speaks to the instinct that you guys have. Like, I know there's something going on here. I just got to find it. Because I've seen that at work so many times. And sometimes I've watched you guys, like, I know there's something here and you've found it. But then I've seen times that it's like, I know there's something here. And, like, you know, we've got the X-ray out doing the whole thing. Like, I know it's here. I know it's here. And I always, and like the canines alert. And across the board, everybody knows it's there, but then we never find it.
I think probably one of the most funniest things we had one at the shop. One of our other teammates had a son, 17-year-old son, riding with us that day. And we searched this truck roadside for a while, and we brought him to our shop, relocated our shop. And all of a sudden, our partner's son said, "Dad, I don't think that's a TV in the bottom of that box right there." And you actually see the bundles of currency falling out of the box.
Yeah.
And we kind of looking at each other like, how did we miss that? And his son found that.
Y'all are so hyper focused.
So hyper.
Yeah.
And
So
he-
someone who's just outside
Outside.
looking in is like, I think you should look right
Yeah,
here.
that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I had one like that with a printer box in the back on the back seat.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
on the side of the highway, and I grabbed the printer box and set it out. Continue to search. New behavior was there.
Yeah.
Knew it was there. Somebody walked up. You checked the printer box. Nope. Bundles everywhere.
Wow. Well, okay, so Joe wants to ask a question, so I'm going to throw my mic over like this.
Yeah, I have a question for you, and for the audience here that's watching. What are some tools that you guys have, or that you can use, or that are available, besides using your K9 to help you search a vehicle? Besides tools that you carry on your person and or in the car, like a toolbox. What are some tools that you guys use to help you find those compartments or to know what's inside the vehicle?
Study. When we do training, I try to explain to people all the time. There's a lot of people still loves the police out here. Be familiar. Go visit your local mechanic shops, your local car dealerships, and we have utility trailers. They're very law enforcement friendly, and we always call the owner and we have a question about a utility trailer, and he's always been able to help us answer the phone 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, answer questions about us, and and we have X-ray machines. That's pretty expensive right there. And so any of our local business would like to donate to us for a new one, because mine's kind of old. We take donations, and we would kindly give you, thank you in the media for it.
We'll put the Cash App in there.
Yeah, we put the Cash App in there. But, it helps, and it saves a lot of time on the X-ray machine. It's a portable handheld machine. We got fiber optic scopes.
Mm-hmm.
That's very helpful.
Yep.
But if you know your vehicles, you know what's normal and what's not normal in vehicles. You're ahead of the game. People use the voids in a vehicle. They modify the voids to build a compartment. And your voids in your vehicle, then all you got to do is count for your space. They got to have space to build a compartment and everything. But X-rays is nice, especially on a commercial motor vehicle. 100-degree heat in Mississippi or freezing rain. You can clear it. Commercial motor vehicle easy with an X-ray, handheld X-ray machine.
Well, and when you're talking about voids, you're talking about like the space in the door.
Doors,
and
the quarter panels,
yeah, even the gas tanks sometimes.
the gas tanks, transmissions. Anywhere you could put space, got space.
That comes with knowing what's supposed to be there and what's not
Not.
supposed to be there. So if I'm up under there and I'm looking and I see something that I know that's normally done this way and it's done another way, then I know we got a problem. So
Yeah, and and like I said, knowing what's supposed to be there and what's not.
yeah.
What's the odds of you traveling across the country and have multiple flats on one trip? I mean, and you stop a vehicle, you see they taking off 2 or 3 of the 4 tires on a vehicle. Like, hey man, what is they doing that for? Then just ask questions and look.
It's all
And,
about talking to people.
yeah, that's the biggest thing, talking to people.
Yeah.
Talking to people. Yeah.
Nicely, though, and respectfully.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell a story too, because my favorite thing, one day I was in another county, and at the time I was driving my dad's Buick. It had Ohio plates. So I'm driving down this little highway in this other county. I see blue lights behind me, and I think, oh, okay. Because I knew I wasn't speeding. I knew I hadn't done anything, and I thought, let's see what this is. The guy pulls over, hey, ma'am, can I see your license? Does that whole thing. And then he says, so what have you got in the car? And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I know this game. I know what we're talking. You got any drugs in the car, ma'am? No. Do you have any guns in the car? No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir. So we go through several of the questions, and I'm sitting there the whole time like, should I mess with this kid? Should I give him a hard time? Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Maybe I should. I don't know. But anyway, by the end of it, of course, he was a baby interdiction officer. And I just had such a fun time, like, watching him work, because I was like, man, I learned from the best. Like, I've been doing this, man. I could do this. But anyway, that was because of you guys.
You believe it or not, when we travel, we know the interdiction officers across the country where they usually work at.
Yeah.
And we go by them. We usually in a rental car, and we usually try to do something to get pulled over just to see what they do. And it'd be amazed people that pull you over and be like, okay, like, hey, where you going? I don't know. They just gave me the car. Right. And just to see how far they're going to go in it.
It's my sister's car. Well, this shows that it's a rental. Oh, then it's my brother's rental car. Yeah. That stuff's fun. Well, and so anything else you'd want people to know about the job that you do?
Yeah.
That's on you.
Oh.
You've been here longer than me.
It's the best for me. I love it. I live and breathe it 24/7. I wouldn't want to do nothing else. And I want to thank, I had great admins that allow me to do this job. Mm-hmm. Our administration, if you don't have the support from your administration, you can't do this job. I mean, it's like any other profession, but we have great admin that let us do our jobs because they put that trust in us. And then we're going to do the best we can, and ain't going to make them look bad. So, yeah. And for my boy, Anthony Fox and Barney, I think we look better sitting on this couch than y'all did. Just saying that.
And, I should tell y'all, I took a screenshot a minute ago, Fox, if you're watching. But I took a screenshot because for some reason my phone hung up, and it told me about 1,800 times, Anthony Fox is watching. Anthony Fox is watching. So we're watching you too, Fox.
But we do look better.
We'll let you guys decide. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate y'all, being here with us. And for those of you that left us comments and that kind of thing, we really appreciate that too. If you need a podcast, Daniel Anderson's your guy with Audio Alchemy. He does all this magic for us, and he's able to fit all of us in this room and make everybody look really good too. So call Daniel if you need a podcast. Amanda, thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. I love it when we get to do something that I know about, and or if I don't know about, like dope, I get to sit here and learn, and y'all need to give me a certificate, and I'll send it back to admin, and I'll count it as training hours.
That's right. Good. Well, and I just want to let y'all know, if you've watched or listened, that these are some of the best in business. We've known that for a while. Y'all have won a lot of awards, and they just didn't even bother to brag about it. So I'll brag on them for you. This team has done a lot of good work over the last several years, a long time. And so I'm really grateful to have gotten to know them all and work with them. And we're really grateful that you guys could be here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and good night.